So hello and welcome guys. This time we're back for another video from Middle-earth SBG, covering Arnor in a faction focus. Arnor is kind of a niche army. There isn't a huge amount for you to choose options for, but what they do have is relatively cheap, well, all-rounder troops, with bow fire and stuff like that, which is sometimes above normal of what you'd see in other lists. And again, it's a nice list to kind of learn and kind of go around. It's very resilient. It has relatively good bonuses in it, so again, it's nice to see on an army list, and it looks lovely when it's on a battlefield because of kind of all the vibrant greens and tends to see in it, and woodland theme, as it were. You don't have a huge amount of heroes in this list. Arnor, the best hero that you have is your leader, which will tend to always be King Avadui. Avadui is king of men, long before the time of Gondor. They fought a lot of their battles against Angmar up in the north, defending realms like the Shire and stuff like that from fire. Avadui is good for his fight value, which is fight 5. Again, better than most average heroes. He's strength 4, he's defense 6. He's got 3 attacks, which again is a big pro for him at his points value. 2 wounds because he does die in the books against Gulver, the Terror of Arnor. And his courage is relatively high, which is courage 5, which is still the realms of elf in there. Okay. He's got 3 might points, which is really good. 2 will points, relatively good, but only 1 fate point because he does die in the books. He has access to heroic strike, which is really beneficial in a leader because again, you're going to likely be fighting for your life at one point or another in your game, and you need him to do some work with his 3 attacks. He's got heroic strength, and he's also got heroic defense, which is really helpful when it comes to trying to keep him alive against things that would ultimately murder him in a turn, like heroes and monsters and stuff like that, especially given that he's only got 2 wounds. He has the Hatred Angmar special rule, which is a good thing to have in this faction if you were playing Angmar, because it gives you +1 to wound that race when it comes to rolling to wound with them. The ones that have access to the Hatred Angmar rule are essentially only the models that are kind of inbuilt to this list, which are Avadui, the Captain, and the bog standard Warriors of Arnor. Melbeth doesn't receive it, and neither does the Rangers or the Hobbits, which are other options for you. Next along the line with heroes is that you have Melbeth the Seer. Melbeth is a very unique model in the game. He isn't very combat heavy. He's only fight 3. He's got 1 attack. He's got 2 wounds. He still has a decent courage of 5, but his strength is 3. Again, defense is 4, so it's not very fantastic when it comes to combat. But he has an army bonus, and a special rule bonus, as it were, called the Gift of Foresight, which means that it's an active rule. Anything within 6 of him in his army list, with the Arnold keyword, I believe, is saved on a 5+ with a special fate save, as it were. It's same as what you would tend to see with Fury. Channeled Fury would give you a 6+ fate save in a certain radius of the Shaman. But Malbeth does not have to cast anything to get this. It is an inbuilt active rule. So when it comes to his stats, he's got 1 might, 2 will, and 1 fate. You'd be using that for other things as opposed to spell casting, because again, he doesn't have access to spells. But he is a very good buff. It would obviously keep things like your heroes and your captains alive because it would bonus them before they would take their fate saves. So your list is therefore quite resilient if you play it well and you keep things in radiuses of each other, which is how Arnold tends to work. The last hero you have access to is a Arnold Captain. Now, the Arnold Captain is kind of the unsung hero of the list. Again, he's only a captain. He has March, 2 white, 1 will, 1 fate. But he's only 55 points, so very cheap. He is fight 5, so that's uncommon with captains. Captains are usually only fight 4, but the bog standard troops in this list are fight 4, so he has to be fight 5 to kind of lead them, as it were. He has the Hatred of Angmar special rule, but he comes in built with heavy armor, sword, and shield, so he's up to defense 7 already. So he's kind of the highest defense model you've got in your list. He's quite resilient in his fight value. It's strength 4, defense 7, quite tough in kind of defending himself. But he's only courage 3, and the courage 3 is because the Warriors of Arnor are only courage 2, and that's the only downfall that you tend to see with Arnold, is their lack of courage, and that's due to fighting wars against Angmar for many years and seeing the untold horrors that were all illustrated in the books. That's what you have to understand about the heroes. Again, there's not too much there. It's very kind of user friendly, as it were. You have warriors then built in, which kind of all metal, from when Games Workshop used to still build those. They look almost like Gondor warriors in themselves. I've seen many people convert them to be similar. They come built in with a shield and a spear, and they only cost you 8 points for that, which is very cheap given that they are all defense 6, they're all fight 4. They're almost elite troops for the points of kind of bog standard kind of rubbish troops, as it were. But the only downfall is that they are courage 2, which isn't a huge bonus, but again, you've got army bonuses, which we'll talk about in a moment, which kind of counteracts that. They do have hatred of Angmar, so again, they would get that additional +1 to wound against Angmar models. So if they've a favourable matchup, they can do quite well, but then they still have to deal with likely the heroes that you might, the monsters that you might see with the army list, which might make them a little bit more kind of scared. The other troops you have access to are Rangers of Arnor. They're exactly the same rule sets as the Rangers of Gondor. Fight 4, strength 3, defense 4. They've got bows that they come equipped with, and they're hitting on 3s with those. So again, they're pretty accurate, pretty good for what they do, and again, they're fight 4 at a baseline, so it makes most of your troops all fight 4. They can be equipped with spears, so again, it gives you more favourable fights when it comes to fighting in ranks, which is what you tend to do with Arnold. Same with things like the banner. The banner comes with its spear and shield equipped at 8 points, and then therefore you then pay for the banner. It's going to be one of the cheapest banners that can spear support in the game, with high defense, which is always good. The only other bit that you tend to see in Arnold, which I don't tend to use much because I don't like the aspect of it, disrupts the theme of it too much, is that you can get Hobbit Bowmen in here. They do counterspark the army list. I don't think they fit in too much. Their movement of 4 kind of hinders the movement restrictions that you tend to see in Arnor anyway, because you've got no cavalry, you've only got access to a march for a captain, so I don't tend to use them over the amount, but there is a part for them. They are cheap, but their bows are only 18 inches now as opposed to 24 of the Rangers, which I think is just one of those things, which I would favour the Rangers over them. The only thing you need to be aware of with Arnor is the massive benefit with their army bonus. Again, if you take this as a pure list, which is usually the case, hence why the small points values, because they don't have many options when it comes to green allies. I think they've only got a handful of yellow allies, but then you lose the army bonus anyway, and therefore you're dealing with more problems. The army bonus itself is that any friendly Arnold model within 6 inches of the king itself will automatically pass courage test. So that is huge in itself, because as you can imagine, being courage 2 pretty much on the board with your main kind of front line, you're not going to be charging much that's terrifying. So say if you're fighting monstrous heroes and stuff like that, you'll have a nightmare trying to get into combat like most orcs would. And if you were to break, you would also run quite quickly. However, Avadui with a 12-inch standfast will keep them on the board if he passes his own, but he also has the bonus of having the army bonus, which means that any Arnold model within him, I believe including himself, would be 6-inch auto pass courage, which is huge, because even if you tagged him expecting the opponent then to do courage tests around, you would then be kind of shocked to realise, oh, okay, actually the Arnor are going to stay around because of that 6-inch auto pass courage, and they keep fighting until the last man. So it's very much, you've got to keep Avadui alive to get that bonus, which is kind of the risk to benefit ratio of the list. But that's what we have with Arnor. Like I say, very small list, very niche, but when used appropriately, it's very helpful. A lot of the models all have spear supports, so you would favour a lot of combats. Again, Fight 4 is very good for what they are, and their points cost mean that you get more models and more troops, so it's always beneficial at low points. But you do lack cavalry, you do lack allies and things like that, and you're very what's the word? Very reliant, as it were, on the army bonus and the king's abilities and things like that to keep the list in play. So have a go with it and see what kind of works for you. But hopefully you enjoyed that. We'll hopefully get some more games up with them, and you can kind of see how they kind of work. They're very good for user-friendly for beginners, so I've tended to teach a lot of people local and stuff like that with them, so they can kind of get an idea of how the game works. But then you might expand into other factions and stuff along the way. Okay, well, all the best. Bye-bye now.